Once upon a time, there stood a statue of a happy prince on a tall column in the square of a crowded city. He was very much admired for his appearance indeed. The happy prince looked like an angel with a dazzling smile. He was gilded all over with fine gold. For eyes, he had 2 bright sapphires, and a large red ruby glowed on his sword hilt.
What a beautiful statue! It's the symbol of our city.
What a handsome man!
Everything about him is perfect. He has nothing to be concerned about.
As it got cold, swallows flew to Egypt for winter. One night, a little swallow who was left behind by his flock flew over the city. Seeing the happy prince, she flew down and slept at the feet of the statue. But as the swallow was closing her eyes, a large drop of water fell on her.
What a curious thing!
She cried.
The stars are quite clear and bright, and yet it is raining.
Then another drop fell.
What is the use of a statue if it can't keep the rain off?
The swallow said. She intended to fly away, but a third drop fell. She looked up and saw the eyes of the happy prince filled with tears.
Aha! I have a golden bedroom. What a curious thing! There is full of the stars on the sky, and yet it is raining. Who are you?
The swallow asked. I'm the happy prince, the statue answered.
Why are you crying?
The bird said with pity. The statue said, when I was alive, I lived in the palace of San Suchi. Every day I played with my friends. I never had to care for others. Everything about me was beautiful, so I was called the happy prince. And now that I am dead, they have set me up here so high that I can see all the ugliness and all the misery of my city. And though my heart is made of lead, I can't help but weep.
Is the happy prince who is never sad crying? You are making me wet.
My heart is made of lead, but it still hurts when I can't help the poor. The statue continued in a low, musical voice. Far away, in a little street, there live a woman and her child. The boy has a fever and is asking for oranges. His mother has nothing to give him but river water. Little swallow, will you not bring her the ruby out of my sword hilt? My feet are stuck to this pedestal and I can't move. The swallow was a little hesitant, but she agreed at last. The swallow picked out the ruby and flew to the poor house where the boy was crying and his mother was embroidering a gown. She laid the ruby on the windowsill and pecked on the door. The woman opened the window and saw the ruby.
God has given us a gift,
she cried out.
I'll buy oranges and coats for you, my dear.
Then the swallow flew back to the statue, feeling her heart become warm.
God has given us a gift. Now I can buy oranges for you. Yeah, I'm going to eat oranges. It's great.
Next night, the swallow said goodbye to the happy prince. Will you not stay with me one more night? The statue said. I see a student trying to finish a play for his boss, but he is too cold and hungry.
I'll stay here one more night,
the swallow answered.
I'll take the student another ruby.
I have no ruby now, said the prince. My eyes are made of sapphires. Pluck out one of them and take it to him.
I can't do that,
the swallow said. However, the prince begged the bird to pluck out his eye and give it to the student. The student thought it was from a great admirer.
It may be from a fangirl. Now I can finish my play.
You're dreaming.
The following night, The swallow came to the happy prince to say goodbye after traveling around the city. "Little swallow," said the prince, "will you not stay with me one more night? There stands a little match girl. She has let her matches fall, and they are all wet. Her father will beat her if she doesn't bring home some money. Pluck out my other eye and give it to her."
No, I can't. You would be blind then,
the swallow said. However, the prince was determined, so the bird had to slip the jewel into the girl's basket. She brought it home, looking very delighted.
My matches are all wet. Oh, my father will be very angry. How can I go home? Wow! What a beautiful sapphire! If I bring it to my father, he won't beat me.
The weather got colder, and the swallow was a little tired. "You must go away to Egypt," the prince said.
I'll stay with you always,
said the swallow. Every day the swallow flew over the city. She saw the white faces of starving children. She saw the rich making merry in their houses, while the beggars were wandering the streets. Then she told the prince what she had seen. "I'm covered with gold. You must take it off and give it to the poor." The swallow picked off leaf after leaf of gold, till the statue looked quite dull and gray. Leaf after leaf of the fine gold the swallow brought to the poor, and the children's faces grew rosier. They laughed and played games in the street. Then the snow came, and after the snow came the frost. The swallow grew colder and colder, but she wouldn't leave the prince. She picked up crumbs and tried to keep herself warm by flapping her wings. But she knew that she was going to die. She flew up to the prince's shoulder and murmured,
"Goodbye, dear prince. Will you let me kiss your hand?"
"I'm glad that you're going to Egypt at last," said the prince.
"It's not to Egypt that I'm going,"
said the swallow.
"I am going to the house of death. I'm happy to have helped lots of people."
And she kissed the happy prince on the lips and fell down dead at his feet. At that moment, a curious crack sounded inside the statue, as if something had broken. The leaden heart of the happy prince had snapped right in two.
"Goodbye, dear prince. I am going to leave you. Will you let me kiss your hand?"
"Great! You are going to Egypt at last. You must kiss me on the lips, for I love you."
"I am going to die. Thank you for letting me know what true happiness is."
"No! Little poor swallow!" Early the next morning, the mayor was walking with the town councilors in the square below. They looked up at the shabby statue. The sapphires were gone, and it was golden no longer. They pulled down the statue of the prince and melted it in a furnace. It's strange that the broken heart of the prince didn't melt, so they threw it on a dust heap where the dead swallow was also lying. One day, God said to one of his angels,
"Bring me the two most precious things in the city."
The angel then brought him the leaden heart and the dead bird.
"You have chosen rightly,"
said God.
"This little bird will be with the happy prince and sing in my garden of paradise."
Since then, the happy prince and the swallow lived together happily forever. Kids, gold, rubies, and sapphires on the body of the prince were valuable, but they became more valuable since they were used to help the poor get through difficult times. The story honors the supreme sacrifice of the happy prince and the swallow. They are always willing to sacrifice themselves to help others, and only then do they enjoy true happiness. Kids, you should follow the happy prince and the swallow, and be ready to help others. It's great to see anyone who is in trouble helped, isn't it? Goodbye, and see you soon.
Bring me the two most precious things in the city.
I found the two most precious things for you.
You have rightly chosen. Their sacrifice is most supreme and respectable.